Namaste, my name is Arun Kumar and welcome to my YouTube channel. As you know, I am covering all the topics that are required for uh, successfully passing AZ-900 certification. I am continuously uploading videos for that. So these video series that I am continuously uploading, if you go through that, you will be easily able to crack AZ-900 certification. And at the last of this video series, I will be putting some dumb question that is required for completion of AZ-900 certification. Okay, so let's start with our next topic. Previously, we have covered many topics, and today's topic is Azure Storage Redundancy. Describe Azure Storage Redundancy. Okay, so what is this Azure Storage Redundancy? Okay, Azure Storage, that is fine. That is some storage location in Azure. Okay, as the name itself suggests, redundancy means duplicacy. Okay, redundancy means simply means duplicacy. Okay, I'm just taking a very simple example. Okay, let me open my notepad and let me pull up any pen. Okay, suppose I'm taking this pen. Okay, and now I'm just taking a simple example. So suppose there is some data that is stored in your laptop and you want that data is very much, I mean, uh, very much critical data. You cannot lose that data. You cannot afford to lose that data. Then what will you do? Okay. Suppose this is laptop one, and in this laptop there is hard drive. Okay. Hard drive is present here, hard disk or hard drive, whatever. It is present in my laptop. Okay. And my data is stored. My data is stored in this hard drive. Now, if something happens, if my laptop crashes, or if in my laptop some over voltage comes up, or my motherboard burns up, okay, then what will happen? Or my hard disk burns up, what will happen? I will lose my data. So I will lose my data. So the availability of this data will go down, right? The availability of this data will go down. Availability of this data will go down. This data will not be available if it crashes, my laptop or hard drive crashes. So what will be another approach? Okay, how can I increase the availability of data so that in case of any disaster or any uh, any bad event, my data is accessible to me. So what I will do, I will just copy this data in another laptop. I will keep two copy of the same data, right? I will keep two copy of the same data in another laptop. What if this data also, if I lose this data as well, okay, due to one or the another reason. Okay, of course, here the availability of data is increasing because now we have data stored in two laptops. But what if this laptop also crashes at the same time due to one or the another reason? What happens? Okay, of course, the availability is increasing, but if we store this data in another laptop, okay, I mean, the number of copies, if we keep on increasing the number of copies, okay, the availability of data will keep on increasing, right? The availability of data will keep on increasing. Okay, so redundancy simply means this: we are creating copy of data at multiple places. Like this was the first place, this was the second place, and this is the third place. We have created three copy of data. That's what is called redundancy. Okay, that's what is called redundancy. This is called redundancy. Now we have many kind of redundancy in Azure storage, that is in Azure Data Lake, and about that we will be reading that what are those kinds of redundancy. So basically, redundancy in Azure has been divided into these parts. Okay, locally redundant system, in short it is also called as LRS. Another one is Geo-Redundant system, in short it is also called as ZRS. Then we have something called Geo-Redundant system. The previous one was Zone-Redundant system. Now this one is Geo-Redundant system. And the last one is Geo-Zone Redundant Storage. Geo-Zone Redundant Storage. One more is there that is called read access to data in secondary region. This is little bit different. I'll talk about that. First of all, let's just start with the first redundancy type. Okay, as you can see, this is redundancy in primary region. Okay, I'll talk about primary region, secondary region. Two things are there: primary region and secondary region. I will talk around that. So, what is this redundancy in primary region? I mean, not redundancy in primary region. I'll be talking around that just in few minutes. First, let's look into this locally redundant system. In locally redundant system, what happens? There is something called data center, right? You might have heard this word. Data center is physical infrastructure. I mean, where where our data is stored, where our servers are located. Okay, let me show you how a data center looks like. Data center looks like. Let me show you an image of that. You see, this is how a data center looks like, and there are racks in this data center. As you can see in this image, racks are there in which our data is stored. So, if our data is copied three times in one data center, in only one data center, okay, then we call that kind of system as locally redundant storage. Okay, then we call that kind of system as locally redundant system. Suppose these three copy of data are present in the same data center in different racks. So suppose short circuit happens where the copy one is placed, then we can we can use this copy 2. Suppose short circuit happens in copy 1 and copy 2 both the racks. In racks, hardwares are there in which data is stored, right? So suppose this copy 1 and copy 2 both we are not able to access both of them due to any kind of short circuit or due to any hardware issue. So in that case, we can use the copy 3. And in this case, the availability of data, I mean, increases. If we have kept only one copy of data, then the availability of data would be low. But if we are keeping the copy of data three times, then at three times in different racks, then the availability of data increases. It it saves us from accessing data in case of hardware failure. Okay, so it provides at least 11 nines of durability of object over given year. It means, I mean, this much time, 11 nine. If you will count all the nines, it is 11 nines. I mean to say that by saying this, I mean to say the availability of data increases. That's all. Okay. When we move towards this zone redundant storage, in zone redundant storage, there are three data is stored in three different data centers. Data is stored in three different data centers, and these data center are not the same data center. These all are the three different data centers, so that if anything happens in one data center, like if suppose power outage happens in one data center, all data that is stored in this data center will be lost. I mean, not lost, we will not be able to access. Then we can access that data from this second data center where this copy 2 has been kept. If in both these data center power loss happens, then we will be able to access data from this third data center that is present in this availability zone 3. It simply means availability zone simply means that your data is kept at very nearby location but at the different physical infrastructure. It means in different building and different hardwares. Okay, the buildings are different, the physical infrastructures are different in which your data has been kept. Okay, so this is called zone redundant system, and it has 12 lines of durability. I mean, 12, it has durability of 12 lines. If you will count all these lines, it is nothing but, if you will count, there are total 12 lines that are present here. So this is called GRS. Of course, its availability will be higher as compared to LRS, right? Because in this 11 nines durability is there. Here we have 12 nines durability is there. Of course, of course, it will be more durable, right? The data will be more available on this zone redundant system. Why? Because of course, all the three data are kept in different buildings, different location. Of course, they are in nearby location. Like in Gurgaon, in sector 1, one data center is there. In sector 14, another data center is there, and in sector 42, another data center is there. So these are very nearby located at a very short distance. These availability zones are very nearby located at a very short distance. Okay. And the data that is copied across all these data centers are synchronous. It means immediately the data that comes to one data center is copied to data center that is present in another availability zone. And at the same time, the data is copied in this data center that is available in availability zone 3. It means all data centers are in sync. They are synchronous. This LRS is also synchronous. They are copied, I mean, copy of the same file, three copy of the same file are made immediately. Now, when we talk about redundancy in secondary region, then here something comes geo-redundant storage and geo-zone-redundant storage. I will talk about primary and secondary region within few minutes. First of all, let's understand what is this geo-redundant storage. Okay, so geo-redundant storage, there is something called primary region and secondary region. So these kind of setup are done to save us from any kind of natural disaster. So suppose primary region is nothing but Gurgaon and secondary region is nothing but Bangalore. Okay, so if any event in a un, un I mean any bad natural disaster like flood or earthquake happens in Gurgaon, then data is accessible through the secondary region. And you see, in primary region, LRS is there, in secondary region also LRS is there. It means in the same physical infrastructure, in the same building, copy of the same data has been kept three times. Okay. So primary region and secondary region simply means that primary region, secondary region is very distant from the primary region. Okay. Secondary region is very distant from the secondary region. I mean, physically distant from the secondary region so that any unseen, I mean, any event, any bad event happened in primary region, data is accessible through the secondary region. But you see, data is stored in the same physical infrastructure three times. Then we have something called Geo-Zone Redundant System. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention, it has uses 16 nines of durability. If you will count total, 16 nines are present. It means this data is even more, if you store your data in geo-redundant storage, then this data will be even more accessible, even more durable than your data that is stored in GRS that has 12 lines of durability, and your data that is stored in LRS that has 11 lines of durability. Okay, now let me go down again, and here we have something called geo-zone redundant system. In this again, primary region and secondary regions are present. In primary region, in primary region, we have, you see, three availability zones. It means three copy of the same data are kept, but at in different physical infrastructure. Three copy of the same data are kept at very nearby location, but in different buildings, different data centers. Okay, I hope that this is making sense. So in primary region, three copy of the same data is kept at in three separate physical infrastructures and three separate physical infrastructures and in different data centers. Okay, and in secondary region your data is kept in the same physical infrastructure. Three copy of same data is kept in the same physical infrastructure, same data center. So this kind of setup has the highest durability. I mean, it has around 16 nines of durability again. Okay, it is most robust system to handle any bad event. Okay, so if this data center goes down due to any power cut, then this data center will be, from this data center we will be accessing data. If both of these go down, then from this data center we will be accessing our data. And if any unforeseen uh, situation happens like flood or earthquake and whole primary region goes down, then my data will be accessible from the secondary region. Now Now, now we have something called read access to data in secondary region. In this read access to data in secondary region, uh, we have only read only access to this secondary region. Okay, we have only read access to this secondary region. We don't have write access to this secondary region. We have read, write, and all kind of access in this primary region. Like if we are doing any operation over my data, then I'll be able to do that data in primary region only. But if primary region goes down, then we won't be able to do other operation except the read operation. This is acting as a backup. Okay, this is acting as a backup from where we can access data if we are not able to access data from the primary region. I hope that this is making sense to you. So there is one option uh, which we need to enable. So if we enable read access to secondary region, our data is always available. If we access read, if we enable read access to secondary region, our data is always available. Okay, but if this is not enable, if we don't enable this read access to secondary region, then we won't be able to access this data of secondary region. I mean, read the data from the secondary region all the time. It only it will be only accessible here. It is writing. However, the data is available to be read only if customer on Microsoft initiate a failover from primary to secondary region. When we initiate this failover from primary to secondary region, only then we will be able to access the data that is stored in the secondary region, and that's what is under this topic: read access to data in secondary region. So I hope that these concepts made sense to you. These are just this setup has been just created to make your data highly available in case of any bad event. Like if banking data is there, of course, if any bank is there that is storing data in data lake, of course they don't want to lose any data, right? If they want to access data, they can immediately access. They want that kind of setup. So for that, we'll be trying to configure the highly available uh, redundancy storage with to them, right? We will try to suggest them that you please implement the high redundancy storage so that your the durability of data, the availability of data remains high all the time. So that's all in this video. We'll be again coming up with next video uh, co- covering all the topics that are required for AZ-900 certification. And as I said in the last of this video series, I'll be giving the dumb questions as well. I'll be giving the dumb question to clear the AZ-900 certification as well. So do subscribe to my channel. Here you are getting something very important. Every topic I am covering one by one. So do subscribe to my YouTube channel and do uh, prepare for your AZ-900 certification. Thank you everyone. Take care.